Hey everyone, Christina Simmons from Say Yes to Holiness here. So I just wanted to take a quick moment to ask you a question. Are you happy? That seems to be a real common question that people will ask us many times. We'll catch up with people that we haven't seen in a while, or we're just telling them what's going on, and they'll be like, are you happy? Or you don't sound really happy, are you? And sometimes we'll look and we'll say, I'm not. And I just want to give you something to think about for maybe why. Maybe this is why you might not be feeling that happiness, that fulfillment that you're longing for. Maybe you're not feeling fully alive like you are hoping for. You seem to have it all together. You have a beautiful spouse and family, perhaps. You're a great job and opportunities there. Or you're pursuing a lot of personal goals and achievements, and maybe to run a marathon for the first time. Or there's all sorts of different things that it seems like everything's going well, but we're just not feeling that satisfaction. Well, one of the things that I wanted to share was a small quote from Archbishop Fulton Sheen, who is Venerable Fulton Sheen, and he should be hopefully proclaimed a saint very soon. But he said, if we use our lives for other purposes than those given by God, not only do we miss happiness, but we actually hurt ourselves and beget in us queer little kinks. He called them kinks, but in the tradition of the church, they're sins. Those are the things that were disordered, were not properly ordered, were kind of creating those knots in our lives without even realizing it. Because the things that we're pursuing or following, they seem to be good. But the fact is that they're actually helping us kind of twist ourselves up into little knots. So the fact is that many times, just as Fulton Sheen says, when we're using our lives for other purposes than given to us by God. And this is where it's so important for us to come to know what is God's will for us. And when we know His will for us, then it becomes very easy for us to start identifying those things that are getting in the way. And in the tradition of the church, they tend to be rooted in the 7 deadly sins. So pride, anger, gluttony, greed, lust, envy, and sloth. Usually in some way or another, those have woven their way into our lives in some way, and they have disordered us. They've kind of tangled us up and are getting us missing the mark of what it is that's going to truly bring us great joy, fulfillment, and happiness. As St. Irenaeus always says, the glory of God is man fully alive. And this is what we long for. This is what we're seeking. This is what is true happiness and fulfillment, because we're longing for union, which only comes when we're properly ordered, when we don't have all these little kinks and twists. So when we are focused upon doing the things ordered towards those purposes that have been given to us by God. So how do we do that? How do we become fully alive? How do we seek to become right ordered? Well, we got to put first things first. We got to put God first, and then we need to be about doing the purposes that God has given us. So we have to be focused upon discerning God's will. That doesn't mean we have to go off to a retreat center or we have to seclude ourselves from daily life. In fact, discernment is a continuous process, but it begins with that daily prayer and meditation. It begins with the 4 steps that I talk to people about, of us responding to that call to holiness. In the same way, it helps us discern what are the purposes that God has given us. Daily prayer and meditation is that first step. The second is living that life of grace, and that means going and receiving all the graces we can from God so that we are given His grace and wisdom and strength to be able to discern rightly. The third is for us to strive to do our best by growing in virtue each day. And it doesn't have to be a big one. It can be a very small thing. But this is how we are responding. And the fourth, of course, is abandoning ourselves to His will. So this is how we find happiness. This is how it is that we're able to get rid of those kinks in our lives that Fulton Sheen talks about. And we don't hurt ourselves and we don't hurt others, but rather we become fully alive. We become right ordered and we pursue those purposes that God has given us. And we find that even though they might not be the ones that we necessarily had conceived, they're the ones that we were created for and bring us great joy, fulfillment, and happiness. So I just wanted to invite you, if you think it's finally time in your life for you to start being intentional about really pursuing the purposes that God has given you. For you to really start being intentional about putting first things first in your life and striving to become right ordered, then I invite you to check out the upcoming Fully Alive workshop that's going to be happening the week of October 25th. Go to the website, sayyestoholiness.com, and check it out. And join me that week for a 4-day workshop that's going to help you be able to discern ever more rightly what are God's purposes for you. And then, if you want to continue that journey, if you want to continue to pursue it, I invite you to check out the Camino. And that too, you can find out more information at the website, sayyestoholiness.com. Sign up for the workshop and also check out the Camino. May all of you be blessed, and I look forward to talking with you again soon.